You know, the most dangerous moment for any idea is when its creator falls in love with it. Welcome to Creativity Signals Atlas. Now, this isn't about teaching you how to be creative. You already know how to do that. No, we're here to map the hidden forces, the actual physics that decide why some ideas survive and change the world, while most, well, they just never make it out of the mind. So that leads us to our core signal for today. I want you to just forget that myth of the lone genius, the one struck by a bolt of creative lightning. The reality is, it's just so much more interesting than that. Originality, it turns out, isn't born in a single mind. It's forged between them. And this idea right here, it leads us to our central thesis for today. The signal we're tracking is this. Genius isn't some personal attribute, it's actually a property of a network. So what does that really mean? It means we're going to move past how creativity feels on the inside, that private struggle, that sudden flash of insight. We're going to look at how it actually behaves out in the real competitive world. See, true novelty, it isn't an act of isolated conception. It's the result of a networked collision. It's where ideas literally crash into other ideas, other ways of thinking, and they mutate in the process. And here's the thing. This collision, it's not random at all. It's a very distinct pattern. It's driven by three observable systemic forces, and we see them again and again, whether you're looking at the Pixar Brain Trust or even the early days of the Macintosh team. Okay, so what are these three forces? First, you've got idea recombination. Second, an expanded search. And third, a really powerful selection mechanism. Let's dig into each of these. All right, let's start with that first one. Most of us think collaboration is additive, right? It's my idea plus your idea. But the reality is it's combinatorial. See, when our ideas, which come from totally different mental models, actually collide, they don't just add up. They mutate. They create something brand new, something that neither of us could have ever come up with on our own. Now, this second force is so often misunderstood. We talk a lot about diversity, but we usually mean representational diversity, who's in the room. But from a creativity physics perspective, its real power is cognitive. It's not just about different backgrounds, it's about different minds exploring completely different parts of what you could call a problem search space. Think of it like a maze. A team with cognitive diversity doesn't just find the exit faster, they explore way more paths at the same time. They just search wider. And that brings us to the third force, the selection mechanism. And this is absolutely crucial. Feedback in a strong network isn't about personal judgment. It's not about feelings. It's an impersonal environmental filter. It's a system that's literally designed to ruthlessly pressure test ideas. The weak ones, they get eliminated early. And the ones that survive, they become incredibly hardened and resilient. So when you put these three forces together, recombination, expanded search, and selection, what you get is the game. And in this game, ideas aren't gently nurtured. Oh no, they're forced to compete for their own survival. This isn't about comfort. It's all about pressure. And this table really lays out the difference, doesn't it? Look at the lone creator. The filter there is driven by ego, by personal attachment. You stick to what you know, familiar patterns. And the results? It's totally predictable, fragile, unvetted ideas. Now, compare that to the network filter. The driver there is objective critique. The search method explores completely unfamiliar models. And the outcome? Resilient, tested ideas that can actually survive in the wild. It's not just a little different, it's a completely different system. So what happens when really talented creators just don't understand this game? Well, they fall into the echo chamber trap, and the cost of that misunderstanding, it's just enormous. Because inside that echo chamber, what happens? Your ideas, they just naturally converge on what's familiar. Your personal blind spots, they don't get challenged, so they harden into actual flaws in the work. The ideas stay fragile, because they've never, ever been tested by real pressure. And in the end, they almost never achieve true novelty. And this is the point I really want you to get. Most ideas don't fail because they're bad ideas. And they don't fail because the creator isn't talented. They fail because the creator fundamentally misunderstands the system that is judging them. Okay, so that brings us to the strategic advantage, the edge. How do the best creators operate? Well, they have a totally different mental orientation. They don't run from this pressure. They actively design systems for it. They actually design for friction. And this is such a core concept. Most of us, when we collaborate, we're looking for harmony, for support. But elite creators, They do the exact opposite. They intentionally engineer constructive friction. Why? Because they know that friction is where ideas are forged, where they're tested, and ultimately where they're made strong enough to survive. Look, this is not just about working together. This is a deliberate, disciplined process of system design. Step 1, build a system that is made for idea collision. Step 2, you have to prioritize cognitive diversity, even when it comes at the cost of social comfort. Step 3, use critique as that ruthless, impersonal filtering tool we talked about. And finally, and this is maybe the hardest part, you have to separate your ego from your creative output. The idea is not you. Okay, so let's turn this whole analysis around and point it at you. Based on this system we've just broken down, we have to ask some pretty sharp questions about the design of your own creative network. First question is pretty simple. Who inspires you? Just think about that. Who are the primary inputs to your system? Okay, the second question goes a little deeper. This isn't just about inspiration anymore. Who in your network genuinely thinks differently than you do? Who is it that expands your search space? And now for the final and maybe the most critical question of all. Forget inspiration, forget even just different thinking for a moment. Who challenges you? Who in your life actually acts as that ruthless environmental filter, the one that forces your ideas to either get stronger or die? Really think about it, because the answer to that question might just determine everything.